Hi everyone, welcome to my third video in 3 years. I'm planning on making a ton of content this year though, so hopefully I can get a higher average than one video per year. One concept that I've been grappling with making for pretty much the entire year was a series called Monthly Media, where I'd go over all of the games, movies, shows, books, etc. that I experienced in that month and discuss them. My issue was that I kept forgetting up until this point what I'd actually done and refused to write it down for some reason, so because of that I just decided to go with the idea of discussing my favorite games that came out in 2024. No rankings, just casual discussion over what I appreciated during a frankly stacked year in gaming. I will try to have the first episode of Monthly Media out for January sometime early next year. With that said, let's get straight into the first game of the year, Persona 3 Reload. I absolutely adore this franchise, and Reload took to be what I consider to be the weakest of the series, of what I've played, into something magical. Don't get me wrong, I love Persona 3, but I played a portable and had some design decisions that genuinely left me baffled. Reload fixed a lot of these problems. Tartarus was much more interesting to explore and took less time, though it's still not great, too long, and grindy. The graphics and gameplay were much more akin to Persona 5, making it feel incredibly fluid, and the combat/movement was very fun. The story remains intact and is just as phenomenal as before. Kamiki is still the single best social link in the entire series, and the ending still makes me cry on every subsequent playthrough. It's not without its flaws though. Leaving out FemC and making episode Aigis a $35 expansion makes the content feel less full overall than even Portable did. Persona tropes still unfortunately exist as well, though that is maybe the one upside of removing the Katone option. When playing Persona 3 Reloaded back in February, I honestly believed it was my pick for Game of the Year, though that has changed since then. It's a great experience for any Persona or JRPG fan that I highly recommend, with one of the best narratives in gaming, period. Helldivers 2 is genuinely just so fun. I love hearing Sasuke/Yosuke/Spider-Man's voice actor screaming about spreading freedom and democracy in one of the funniest critiques of American imperialism that I've ever seen. The community around this game is awesome. The devs are trying their best despite Sony's best efforts to impede them, and the gameplay is just so much fun. I love the way the planets are built, their environments, the weather patterns, the geography. I mean, visually this game is just straight up stunning. And it feeds into the gameplay with fucking meteor showers and ion surges and this other sick shit that's just so cool and fun to explore. There's a mission where you fucking nuke the bugs. Like, what the hell is this game? It's so replayable. It's so fun with friends. Exploring the stratagems and experimenting with them and just plugging in the little code, make you feel like you're fucking hacking and shit. Like, I love it. The gameplay is just incredible. And this is absolutely came out of nowhere and became one of my absolute all-time favorites. I really love this game. Animal Well was awesome. I'm a huge Donkey fan, but Metroidvania puzzle games are just one of my all-time favorite types of games that you can make, and when you combine those things and Donkey, you kind of get something truly special. Billy Basso did such an incredible job here. The art style is wonderful and playful, the music adds so much to each of these environments, and each power-up feels unique and super fun to experiment with. My favorite of them was the Frisbee, but the Bubble Wand was also a lot of fun, the Slinky was a lot of fun and interesting to use, and it just made for some really fun and interesting puzzles. And those puzzles are definitely the most important part of a game like this, and I really adore them. So much effort was put into crafting every single one of them. They feel difficult but manageable, and when you finish one and collect an egg or make some progress in exploring this wonderful little world, it makes it feel like a goddamn genius, and I love it. The game is a little bit short, but the collection of the eggs to fully complete the game was a true joy, and the game is an easy recommendation for any puzzle game or Metroidvania fan. Alright, well, I know it's not a game, but how can we not talk about Shadow of the Erdtree? This might be the best DLC that I've ever played, and that's even over Outer Wilds. And do you know how much I glazed that fucking game? Watch my other video to find out. I'm a huge Elden Ring fan, so this was obviously going to be a slam dunk for me, and the two best aspects were expected to be the bosses and the world. I definitely got less enjoyment out of the exploration here than the original game given its smaller scale, but regardless the open world is fantastic. It's like comparing perfection to a mini version of itself. Even though the overall land area was smaller significantly than the base game, it was much bigger than was initially promised. It had so much depth for the exploration, it was very vertical, and each area felt really unique. Cerulean Coast in particular was probably the best looking area of any game, period, and even the Shadowkeep is fun sometimes. Honestly, it's just so easy to get lost in exploring this world for hours. The bosses though, I really love the bosses. I don't think there's a new boss that I fully dislike except for Gaius. To be fair, Gaius was one of the most excruciating boss fights that I've ever played, especially pre-nerf. R'Lana had difficult timings and some tricky attacks, but I found overall fun. Romina was interesting conceptually, but for being so important I wish she had a cutscene or something substantial besides the fight itself, and Golden Hippo had some really weird hitboxes, undodgeable attacks, and was reused a few times. But other than those few issues, the real good fights are really good. Egon and Bale had a real grip over TikTok for a few weeks, and it felt amazing to give Egon a proper send-off. That fight was gritty and fun, and Bale might be my favorite dragon boss fight from the entire game. Dancing Lion was delightfully enjoyable to fight against with great animations and effects, except for maybe not a great lightning phase. Midra had a super interesting moveset and a great legacy dungeon along with one of my all-time favorite designs. Messmer might just be my favorite from the entire game other than Godfrey and Malekith, and Promised Consort Radahn literally had me jumping out of my seat when I saw his cutscene for the first time. The new items are super fun to use even when they get nerfed into the ground, and I did like the addition of Skadoo fragments, Shadow Tree, whatever they're fucking called, keeping difficulty scaling high while still making it fun for high-level accounts and those on New Game Plus to power themselves up even further. I can see why people wanted this game to win Game of the Year. It was just that good. Still though, was not my Game of the Year. That's because that honor would go to Balatro. Nah, I'm just kidding, but I do really love this game. Roguelites are one of my all-time favorite genres, and poker-based card game, roguelike game, fits right up my alley. I'm not sure if I agree that Balatro deserved to be a Game of the Year nominee, but I'm genuinely glad that it was. It's fun, addicting, and who doesn't love watching Northern Lions sit down and talk about random stuff with it in the background? Super impressive that one guy managed to make such a hit game that I'm glad is getting the recognition it deserves. Seriously, if you haven't picked this game up and you're even remotely interested in it, play it. Actually, if you're not even remotely interested in it, if you've never heard of it or you don't even give a shit, pick up this game. It's cheap, it's fun, you can even play it on your phone. I'm just a shill for this game at this point, and it's just fantastic. Definitely one of my favorite, if not my favorite, indie game from the entire year. My true favorite game of the year this year was Metaphor ReFantazio. And are we really surprised given my P3R ramble earlier? I'm not gonna lie, I actually haven't even finished this game yet, and I still think it deserves to be Game of the Year. Congrats to Astrobot though, also well deserved from what I've seen, though I still haven't played it yet. Metaphor has an incredible, gripping storyline that screams Best Narrative winner. The art style is so unique, taking the classic Atlas style and mixing it with this watercolor storybook-like effect. The voice acting is great, obviously. Being able to switch up your party members' abilities to craft your perfect team was such a great addition that I appreciate separately from the rigidity of the Persona series. And like I said, man, the storytelling is insane. The characterization is insane. I am not that far into this game, so some of my praise could change for either the worse or the better. From what I've seen though, this could end up being one of the best games Atlas has ever made. I also understand though that people could criticize my choice for my favorite game this year because I haven't finished it yet, but also at the same time, it's my list. Why the fuck would you tell me I'm wrong? Whatever. I need to finish playing it, and I can't wait to in 2 years when I have the time to play an 80-hour RPG. Anyways, that's it guys. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble. Like I said, planning to make some actual stuff now that I've dealt with some mental blocks for creating content. Still planning on making that video about music, gonna make a bunch of ranking videos on the second channel, and I'm hopefully gonna be starting monthly media soon, so yeah. Thank you guys for the support. I had a massively successful 2024, and I hope I can keep providing some stuff for you all to enjoy.